Okay, hey guys, welcome back to another video. I'm pretty excited for this one. It's just a more chill video. You guys have been wanting to watch more Edward Newgate, so I'm here with some more Edward Newgate, obviously. More views are always better. I'm a little tired. It's like 2 in the morning, and I just didn't have a video for tomorrow, and I did want to sleep in. So I'm just going to prep this video and probably wake up at 12 in the afternoon or 11 in the afternoon. We will see. This is a deck if you guys were wondering what it was. I messed around with it over and over, and I think this is the best solution for the deck. So you play Edward, you play 4 Otamas, 2k counters, 3 Sanji just Sanji, sorry, 2Ks, 1K counter Namis for the searches for events, or if you can't find events, then you could find your Rush Luffy that can win you the game, or your 4 cost, 6K drop that's just a solid hit, and then your Sanjis that are a plus 1000. And then you have Edward Newgate you play 4 of. He's a big part of your deck. If you're not playing him, I don't know what you're doing unless you're going really hardcore into bait. Up to one of your leaders gains plus 2000 for the battle, or for the fight, blah blah blah. Then put 2 Dawn onto your character when he attacks, KO up to one of your opponent's characters with 3000 less. That's won me game after game after game. But the big thing is Edward Newgate. You get plus 2,000 for your whole turn. So your leader that's already 6,000 is up to 8,000. So your leader also, if you haven't attacked yet, then if you play Edward and then attack, then your leader is attacking for 8k. And then when it goes to the opponent's turn, your character's still 8k. So if you're playing against something like a purple red law, it's just going to go so well compared to normal. It's just so nice. And then we play 4 Jozu 2k counters. I think they're nice. I've never used them as a rush. They're possible for a rush if you really have nothing else and you see the opening and there's no question about it. I mean, you have no life. You know that you're going to lose next turn. Not a lot of cards in hand. Or you have a lot of cards and this is just your best option. Just throw a couple Dawn onto him, see what happens, right? And then you have your 7 cost Port Gas. He's always a solid one to get. His -3/-3, the opponent's characters is just a huge thing because you can play Port Gas -3/-3 on blockers, and then put 2 down onto Edward, swing, and then you can kill one of their things pretty easily. So you can kill a blocker that way. There's tons of different ways. So your Makino, she's a 2k counter, 1 cost 0k, but when you tap her, you can give something like your Nami, or Otama, or your Izu. That's just kind of how that works. Cause how it works is you tap it, give one of your 1 cost characters plus 3k. So it's a solid card. I've played multiple of those back to back to back, guys. And I think it's amazing. I think it feels beautiful. I'm sorry that I wasn't showing off the thing. I'm like super lost today, like I was saying. But here's the thing now, if you guys were wondering where it was. Let me full screen just to make it even a little bit easier. But so we have the Otamas, the Sanjis, the Namis, the Edward Newgates, the Jozus, the Port Gas, and the Makinos we've talked about so far. Marcos, they're 1k counters, so that's always nice. Having non-brick things in your hand is always really nice. It's obviously there for a block. And the big thing is it's never really going to leave your board unless you have nothing in hand. Or if you have tons of brick, then you can play Marco. Somebody kills your thing, you take the brick out of your hand, and you still got your Marco, and you got a free swing out of the enemy instead of hitting your leader. But yeah, we got the Izus. Izus are there for the search. Or the 1k counter. And the really nice thing is you can play Izu or your Nami very beginning of the game, or if you don't find that and you're not playing against a destruction deck, then you can play Makino. So sometimes I'll play Makino if I know the opponent's gonna have a really hard time being able to destroy it, but if I know that they can if they really want, then sometimes I'll make them. I'll play Makino, and then it'll lose some of their resources really fast in game. I lose one card, but I draw two cards, right? Because you lose life every single turn. But you start with six. Um, so that's just a really big thing with Makino. There's so many good things about Makino. But yeah, she's a solid card. But yeah, so you can search Whitebeard Pirates if you play Izu, and that's gonna search your Edward Newgates, your Jozus, your Portgas, your Marco, 4 cost blocker, your 5 cost Marco 6K, on play on KO Marco. I don't know exactly what they call it, but I know blocker Marco. And then it also searches for, that's it in this deck. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So you get 5 searches out of your Izu out of chance, and then your Nami, you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So you have 4 and 6, and so you have your Atamas are not searchable at all, and that is, oh, and your Makinos. Your Atamas and Makinos are really not searchable. I could see Otama getting changed if there's just a better option in the future. But it is really useful. I've seen Otama be used multiple times in my games. I've won because of it. But a solid Makino's always nice. But I'll kind of tell you guys about combos in just a second. But Marco, the 5 cost, 1K counter, very important to know. It was a 5 cost, 6K. Your turn on play, KO up to one of your characters with 3,000 or less power. Very good. Just like I was saying earlier, it's kind of like an Edward Newgate attack, but instead of attacking with 12, it's on play for 5, and then you get to kill something for 3. So a really big thing to point out here is, let's say that somebody's playing Sugar. Nobody likes Sugar. Sugar, when it's played, it taps something. This is green. But whenever you play something, it taps something on your board. So if you play, like, if you have Edward Newgate, but you have to play your Marco to get the combo, but there's a Sugar out, you play your Marco, and then you can nuke it. You can nuke your Sugar. But let's say you had a Luffy and you had to before you did your Edward Newgate for some reason, then he could tap your Edward Newgate, or he could tap your Luffy. But that's a really nice thing about Marco, is that you can kill a 3K or less. So you just shoot the Sugar by playing Marco, and then they have one less character on their board. That's going to stop you from stunning. And you have a 6K out on board now. And he doesn't really ever go away, because you just trash an event from hand. And then your character is brought back from the trash to the board tapped. And then we play 2 of Monkey D. Luffy. 4 cost 6. Yes, he's a promo. You can definitely switch it out for other stuff. Check around if you can't find it. I know he's not too much, but he'll definitely go up and down. So it's just what you guys want. And then we play 4 Monkey D. Luffy blockers. Needed. There's no question about it. Most of the stack you really need. The only things that I really can say you could technically switch are the Sanjis or the Monkey D. Luffy 4 costs. But yeah, so Monkey D. Luffy, he's a rush, so you pay 5 for that. Then if you put 2 Dawn on, and this is very important, your opponent cannot activate a blocker. So that basically means you can pay 7 for a non-blockable character that's really an 8K. So you can pay 7 for an 8K. It's crazy. It's better than Portgas, unless you need that minus. It's already 1,000K higher, and it can't be blocked. So if your opponent doesn't realize, I've had games when they play 4 blockers in one turn, but they let me take all their life, and then just by attacking with Edwards and some of my board that I already had out, and then I take 2 of their life just by hitting 6 and 6, but they could have blocked. But they don't realize I'm going to pay 5 for Monkey D. Luffy, and then I still have 5 Dawn up. So I'm going to pay, put my guy up to 7, 8, 9, 10, 11k, and he cannot be blocked. So your countering out of that's really not going to happen. And then we have 2 Sanji. Sanji's solid. He's always been solid. He's just a good character. The whole point of having him in here is that he's a counter. I don't use him much, but if you really can't hit your Monkey D. Luffy's or any of your rushes like Port Gas or Monkey D. Luffy, honestly, Sanji is such a solid pick there. But we play 4 Radical Beams. I don't use them for the triggers unless I know that I'm going to be playing against something like Zoro. Zoro's a really nice one to use your Radical Beams against because he's going to be throwing exact numbers at you, like 6 or 5s. Realistically, against Edward Newgate, 6s. So if you can hit that, and you know there's going to be a lot of 6 hits, then you can make it extra complicated by letting the trigger go through, or you can just take it back to hand and then give your character plus 4k for 1 cost. I've countered up to like 24, 25, 30k. Genuinely, I think I've went up to like 34k in a game. And then we play 3 guard points. Your leader up to one of your characters gains plus 3,000, and then if you trigger, your leader up to one of your characters gains plus 1,000. Both of your triggers are the exact same, and you have no other trigger in the game. I've actually hit Radical Beam a decent amount. Guard point not as much, but I do really want to point out. You pay 1 for Nami. That's a solid character out on board, very fast into game. First turn, second turn. First dawn turn, second dawn turn. If you get second dawn turn, honestly, it's still amazing. I've also hit Namis on Izus, so I get like 2 Namis and then Izu. So I'll play a Nami, and then I will play a Izu. Or if I pull Nami and then I see a lot of Whitebeard, I'll do another Nami search because I know it's going to be more realistic to find more Nami stuff because I just found Tumble Edward. And then I will do my final search. But yeah, getting a Nami play out very first turn, putting a 2k character out that also gets you a event in hand, plus 4k or a 3k, or just literally getting out, even if you can't search anything, not a counter, nothing. Just if you can find your Makino, yes, you can't search for it, but if you can find it after playing your Nami or your Izu, even the turn that you find it, you could just play it instantly and tap it the same turn and give a character 3k. It's gonna die, but it's so good. Your Makino is just gonna be useful. But the Nami's nice because it searches events. It searches half the deck, and another half is searched by Izu, and then the only 2 cards that are in this deck, and that's actually a realistic amount of 4, 5, 6, 7 cards out of your 50 card deck. Technically 51 if you're counting leader, but I don't. So out of your 50 card deck, you have 4, 5, 6, 7 cards in your whole deck that aren't searchable. Yes, they aren't searchable on the same character, but half and half, a little bit less on your Izu than your Nami, but your Nami's gonna hit and your Izu's gonna hit unless you're not sure what's gonna happen. Sometimes you have to go blind, sometimes you don't. If you just get lucky enough though, you can win off that. I know this wasn't exactly what I said at the beginning of the video. I'm sorry. I didn't realize what kind of video I was doing. I kind of just started to talk about the thing. I was going to play a whole match, but I'll have to do that another night. A solid 14-minute video, though, is never bad. But yeah, so I hope you guys liked this video. Please comment, please subscribe, please follow. Please say that you got to the end of the line if you got to the end of the video. But yeah, I enjoy the deck, and I hope you guys do too, and I'll make some other videos about this deck if you guys like it. I will see you guys in the next one.